Welcome to Empty Bricks, and in today's video I'm going to be looking at my biggest ever Lego set. Now, if you haven't already, go and check out the last video. I unboxed the Lego Loop Coaster, or sort of did a bit of a haul video on that. And anyway, I have built it now. It's not actually been that long to build, but I've got actually a bit of a problem with it, and I thought I'd show you that in this video. Yeah, so I built it. It ended up taking me about sort of 5 nights to build it, but I was only doing 2 or 3 hours a day on it, so it probably in total took me about 12 hours, I'd say, to build, which isn't as long as I thought. But yeah, it is really impressive to look at, and it does look really good. This isn't actually like a review. This is me sort of trying to figure out what's wrong with it, and I'm going to show you all of the problems, because not just one little problem, there's loads. Now, the basics of it is it keeps crashing and it keeps falling apart, which is the two things you don't want a roller coaster to do, or a Lego roller coaster. Yeah, so if the train pulls around to the station now, the functionality of the set is it rolls onto this lift, then you turn this handle, and then it will lift this elevator up. There we go. So it's lifting up, obviously all fine at the minute. Then it should get to the top. It doesn't happen every time, this problem. Yeah, and it gets stuck there, the little wheel, as you can see. It doesn't actually make it onto the other track. And I'm sort of just left doing that. And then eventually, it does that. So that is obviously not good. So I want to figure out why it's doing that, because that stops the functionality of the set. Now, the other things is it keeps pulling itself apart here. You might not be able to see that, but if I push it back on, that's where the counterweight is. Yeah, it's pulling itself apart there, which isn't great. I just think it could have been fixed if they connected this track piece at the top there. So that's another problem. And the other one is it's pulling itself apart between this light grey and this dark grey. So it basically means this tower's not connected to the main structure. Yeah, that's not it for the pulling itself apart problems. This track here keeps lifting off like that. If you can see in there, so that's sort of all lifted off, and then where the balloon is, that keeps lifting up just there at that round brick. So yeah, that's not great either. Yeah, so it really does keep lifting up just above that grey brick there, if you can see. So yeah, it's not great on the build quality of this, but I don't really mind all that, because I can sort of just push it back together. I've seen some other people have had problems with it pulling itself apart. I'm just trying to figure out why it's doing this. So if I get the car here, put it back on the track, probably easiest to put it on the track around here, just because that's the only bit where you can really get it on. If I push it around the loops, get it back to the start. So it's fine, it rolls onto that, that seems to be fine. And then I'm just waiting for this. Basically, it's like a small track, if you can see it moving down there, attached to the train, and then that'll hook up with this. It pushes it up. Now, sometimes it will make it, but a lot of the time, 9 times out of 10, it just does that, which obviously isn't great. I just tried looking at this, and I did at first think it's something to do with it not pulling up as high as it needs to. Only by a couple of millimetres, because if you see, if I give it the tiniest lift, oh, that's not great, but it does still sort of work. So I think all it needs is to lift up a little bit more. So I tried adjusting the counterweight, which is this thing on the back here. If you see, as it drops, the counterweight will rise. As you can see, it bashes the top, and I think that's why it pulls itself apart. Now, in the instructions, it shows the counterweight needs to be level with this top part here, and you can adjust it. It's not the easiest thing to do. Like, that's not, so I need to just pull it down a little bit, and I can just pull it back up till it's level. There we go. So that's level, and let's see if that works. Now, I did try this, and I did get it to work 1 or 2 times, then it just goes back to the problem. Yeah, so that worked how it's meant to. The first time I've put it on camera, working properly. It has worked properly quite a few times. I've sent it around hundreds of times. So yeah, There you go, that's the problem. I've got to try and figure out how to fix it. Now, when I was looking to buy this set, I was looking at reviews online, and I did see another LEGO YouTuber put on a problem about it pulling itself apart. I sort of looked at that and thought, yeah, alright, it might happen, but it probably won't, because I saw people have problems with the other LEGO coaster, and I didn't have any, so I thought, well, I doubt it'll have that problem, so I didn't really look at that. Upon having a look at it, it seems I'm not the only one that's got the problem with it pulling itself apart. Now, I don't mind doing my own sort of little fix for it, like a bit of a mock to try and make it a bit stronger. Yeah, I just don't think that's great that when you buying a big expensive Lego set, you have to make little modifications to make it stronger. That doesn't bother me really. It's not doing it that much, so I can sort of live with the pulling itself apart thing. What I can't live with a set is the fact that it doesn't actually do what it's supposed to do. So that's what I obviously want to try and fix. Now, I keep looking at what the problem is. I actually can't figure it out. I thought it was something to do with counterweight, because if I pull this up a bit more, you see that rises, obviously. So I think what the best thing to do now is, if I turn this around, so the counterweight will drop, or the main track, that goes on, and I want to actually see if I adjust the counterweight a little bit when it's at the top. Another thing is the tower is actually really wobbly, but you can't get around that because it's a massive tower. When it gets to the top and it doesn't make it, if I adjust this counterweight by pulling it the tiniest bit, will it fix it? Sort of. So really, what I want to try and do is, I think if I raise the counterweight up a bit, not doing what it says in the instructions, so ignoring Lego's instructions, raise it up like that. So it's definitely not what it should be doing now, but this is a custom fix. Yeah, see the counterweight now, it's going way too far up the tower, which is pulling it apart, which obviously isn't great, so I don't know how well this is going to work. But anyway, if we raise it up, see if it works. Yeah, so that's not even the problem, it's not the counterweight. The only thing I can actually think of is it's the problem with the actual thing the car sits on. Because I was thinking, if you can see, it's sort of sitting a bit too far inward. If I straighten it out there, the car actually moves off. I mean, not quite how it's supposed to, but I think the problem's obviously going to be with this tower sort of thing here, because it's a bit wobbly. Sorry for the awful filming there. So yeah, I think that's going to be the problem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end this video here. I think I'm going to actually totally disassemble this part of the coaster, reassemble it, make sure I've assembled it correctly. Because I do think it's probably something I've done with it, because from what I've seen, no one else is having this problem. So yeah, I'm going to reassemble this, and if that doesn't work, then I'm clueless, and I'm probably going to have to basically disassemble the entire part of the coaster where it was doing this lift tower, which is basically this combination here, because when you built it, you built this big loop part, this tower here that supports this track, but all of this was built separately. So yeah, that's my only thing I can think of to sort this out. Anyway, that's my problem with this set. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.